We haven't got a lot of time. All right, so here's my botany book. That's what I used for 3 years. Beautiful. Gives me lots of memories, lots of photos, and I mean nowadays they're probably still the same, I don't know. But lots of photos and colour photos, and I don't know why they made us buy this one. It would cost 100 rand, and that was a lot of money. Nowadays it's probably 1,000. That's the cell. And I don't know why they made us buy this big book, because we hardly used it. And this is probably worth thousands now. Okay? All right. Sorry? I know, it's crazy. Okay, so here are my little fake plants. So from that video, what kind of plant would this be? It's got long strap-shaped leaves, parallel veins. Monocot. It's like a bamboo plant, bamboo grass, like lilies, those kinds of things. But this would be because it's got what do you call it? Net veins, like my hand on the leaves. Okay, so that's just an idea. All right, then getting back, so we want to just quickly do, and please go home and watch those videos, because I don't know if we're going to have enough time now, but I'll try and get through everything. And we can quickly look at the worksheet, whereas for home, I went over it slowly, and go and look at it. All right, so what I said in that little video that won't play, well, that can't have sound, here's a plant cell. All right, and am I taping? Yes. So in this plant cell, there's a cell wall, and then here's the protoplasm. Remember protoplasm, the living contents? These are vacuoles. So young plant cells have small vacuoles. This one, the vacuoles are joining up, and they become a very big vacuole. All right? You can see here there's little chloroplasts, the little green ovals, and these little grey ones, tiny little grey ovals, and they're probably the mitochondria. Yes.
Would plant cells be considered bigger than animal cells?
A lot of them are, yes, but you get some animal cells, like in your biceps muscle, one long spindle-shaped muscle cell can be the whole length of your biceps.
Oh my goodness.
But then you get tiny little egg cells less than a millimeter, and sperm 1/10 of an egg.
Sure.
Okay, so lots of different shapes of cells and sizes. So we always tend to draw plant cells as rectangular, but they're not, and you're going to see that now. We're going to make them, the basic plant cell in the, rubbed it out, in the seed, that little embryo, those are just little, parenchyma cells, and then they become all the other types of tissues. So they're going to become the photosynthesizing, the root, the transport, and every other type of cell. So they start like stem cells. They start off small, and then they differentiate and become different. So he also said basically a lot. I never noticed that. So this is a basic plant cell, and because it's got chloroplasts, where would it be found?
The leaves.
In the leaves, in the middle, and where else?
Outside of stems.
Outside of stems. Okay, the green part of stems, but not when like that tree in the corner there, it's got bark now. No, it won't have any more chloroplasts in its stem, like a tree. Okay. All right, so that's what I tried to do in that first video, and please go and watch it. So we're just trying to see how does this change now if we go and look at all the different parts of the plant and what those different tissues do in different parts of the plant. So I've given you a worksheet, guys, at home. I hope you can open that at home. I'm going to open it here as well. Let's see, where is it now? Okay, so I've given you 2 worksheets. Oh, God. What am I doing? I'm trying to make it bigger. Okay, I see I've got animal tissues at the bottom. I thought I'd separated them today. Alright, so these are the notes that I've given you. Okay, so it's one of my summary tables again. And the people that are here, you got one of these as well with my plants.
Yes.
All right, people at home, you've got that. So in lesson 2 now is this set of notes. All right, it's just 4 pages and it's a summary. And I tried to print it as light as I could. It's quite hard to do that. So always go, this is on Google Classroom. Go and look at the color, all right, when you're revising. It just makes a little more sense. And then you're going to practice being a botanist. So we will also later, not now, but probably in the third term, we'll see how it goes later in July. I put microscope slides out and we actually look at plant tissues and we recognize them and we cut celery and potato and all sorts of things. And you can see the stuff that we're going to be talking about. So this is my little botany sheet. Maybe I should call it that. I call it my plant tissues photo worksheet. And eventually you are going to be identifying, and it's nice to look at it in color, all right, on Google Classrooms, even on Moodle from last year. And eventually you're going to be able to recognize some of these just like a botanist would. Okay, so this is more just to see, because you can't learn something and not see what it looks like. All right, so the notes that I've given you, the table, so it starts off with meristematic tissue. So meristematic tissue, that's dividing tissue. That's that tiny little, inside the bean seed, that little embryo, these cells are dividing quickly to start making the little embryo, and then that leaf will grow out. That looks like a leaf, and then the root grows out. And as the little seedling grows, the original meristematic cells are growing bigger, and they're changing shape, and they're getting chloroplast, or they forming a root cap at the end, or they're becoming xylem and phloem. And as this plant grows bigger, then they start becoming that strengthening tissue, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. It's just changing to what the plant needs. It's just a story. All right, so if we look in these notes, it then goes on, we'll do epidermal tissue tomorrow. So we've got epidermis, plants have this covering tissue as well, but it's not always the same. Even on our bodies, our skin on our faces or our neck is very soft, but the skin under your feet is hard. So plants as well, the epidermis is going to be different in different parts of the plant. So we're going to look at root hairs and guard cells. You've already seen that this morning. So now we've got the dividing cells and we've got the epidermis, but you've got an empty plant. So the next page 2, it says parenchyma, packing. I remember that, packing tissue. And there was another teacher here who used to say parenchyma. And I always say parenchyma, potato. I studied with Wits, and that's how we pronounced it. Okay, so parenchyma means filling up. So who's had an apple or a banana or a pear this morning? Okay, parenchyma. You've eaten parenchyma, and it's full of goodness and vitamins. All right, but then an apple, the core in the middle, he said that there's collenchyma. And if you eat a pear, there's sclerenchyma, the little grittiness. They are beautiful under the microscope. Okay, so botany is fun. And then on the 4th page is vascular tissue, veins, the xylem and the phloem, the water transporting and the food transporting tissue. So yes, these diagrams look a bit scary. They do look a bit dark. It was the lightest I could get it. But you can look at the original on Google Classroom, and it's a whole new world. But, we stain the tissues as well. All right, so you're going to see red and blue and purple. We stain them to make us, enable us to see them. All right, so what I'd like to just do for today, and that's what they're doing at home as well, is meristematic tissue. All right, and in fact, I'm going to do the PowerPoint first. Because I've got all my pictures there. Nice and easy when it's all in one place. PowerPoint. Okay, I'm just going to leave it as it is. I suppose I could open with, always create problems though. What should I open it with? No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that, alright? Alright, so that you've already done, the levels of organization. You've answered the questions, what is a plant? Alright, and then I've given you this. Now this is the old, where's it gone? Oh, okay. So on your new sheet, I added there it is, sorry. Different place. So I've added epidermis because they didn't have that. So there we're looking at meristematic tissue today, the region where the cells divide and then it becomes the other tissues in the plant. So the permanent tissue, they don't divide again. That's the actual plant. So then you get simple and complex. I know we've done this before. Simple means one type of cell. All right, so you get epidermis around the plant, and there might be modifications like root hairs and guard cells. And then you get parenchyma filling up the plant, the flesh of the apple, the pear. Then you get collenchyma, which strengthens the core of the apple, all right, or the sides of the celery. And then you get sclerenchyma, which is another type of strengthening tissue. And we'll talk about that not tomorrow, another time. Okay, chlorenchyma just means it's got chlorophyll as well. And then you get the transport tissue, xylem and phloem. And I've got lots of models of all of these. That's all in that box over there, things that I've made, things that people have made for me. So we're going to use lots of models to explain, and there's the same picture. So now we're looking at meristematic tissue, and you've done this before, so it makes sense. Okay, so remember the root tip? So there, that's the meristematic tissue. Those are the cells that are dividing, and they're tiny little cube-shaped cells. Can you see that? All right, at home? Video. And if you look to the side, they've got large nuclei. So they haven't had a lot of time to make cytoplasm. All right, so these little brown is the cytoplasm. They've got large nuclei, and they're so squashed together, there's no air spaces, and they're dividing and dividing and dividing, making lots of cells. So this whole root grows longer as it pushes through the ground. So the cells make more cells for the root as it's growing longer, and those cells divide to make more root cap cells. Because as it's going through the ground, some of those root cap cells are breaking off because the ground is hard. How does a little tiny root of this little seedling push through those hard soil particles when we even battle to dig and pull out a plant? Okay. Right, so that's what they look like, there they are, and you can see all the stages of mitosis. So what do you think is this stage? Big cell, can't see the DNA yet. Interphase. Then what is maybe, I'm not really seeing one like that. What's that? Metaphase. Little anaphase, and then when you end up with two little cells, telophase, yeah, and then cytokinesis, when the cell plate forms across. And they've sometimes drawn two nucleoli in the cells, and yes, that sometimes happens. There might be two patches of RNA inside a nucleus. Alright, so this meristematic tissue is also found at the tip. Now normally I run outside and get branches. I haven't done that today. Okay? But at the tip, remember at the tip here, we've done this before, that little terminal bud, there's the meristematic tissue. It's even making little leaves. And there's side buds, lateral buds, new leaves. So you've done this. Who eats cabbage? Brussels sprouts? Not many people. So when you're looking at a cabbage or a Brussels sprout, it's actually a big bud. So there's lots of leaves. And then that hard part in the middle is that. And all the Brussels sprouts, so those big leaves that go around and surround the cabbage or the Brussels sprout, it's these leaves growing from side buds and growing from the terminal bud is making it grow bigger. That's all it is.
Is that like a lettuce as well, no?
Yes. Yeah, these little leaves growing from a base, in fact.
Yeah.
Like that region, and then these little buds and things becoming cabbage and, okay, Brussels sprout. All right, so let's have a look at the table. And, oh, the other one there was, oh wait, there's one here. Sorry, there's still some there. I'm forgetting. Next page. So there we go. There we start looking. I don't have a model of a root. They're very difficult to get. I keep looking. They don't seem to make them. All right, so down a longitudinal section through the root. There's the root cap. There's the meristematic region, more or less in the middle. Here you've got epidermis, but obviously going all the way around. And what would this packing tissue filling up be? Parenchyma. And then down the middle here, that would be xylem and phloem. It's not very clear. But then you've got that cylindrical ring of meristematic tissue, which makes branch roots. What was that called again? Pericycle. So there, you can just see there and there, that cylinder of meristematic tissue, and it makes branch roots. Not these guys. Those are tiny little root hairs. They're less than a millimeter. Alright? So at the top over here, we can see a cross section. And obviously, if you cut a cross section through different parts, if you cut here, the cells haven't even differentiated. They haven't even become the xylem and the phloem, and we'll get to that later. Okay, they're still young cells here, but here, if you cut there, then you start seeing that outer layer there is the pericycle. It's going to make branch roots. There's xylem and phloem. There's parenchyma and epidermis. But that's not a very nice picture. We'll look at it in more detail later. And there's our root tip. So here's the meristematic, the dividing tissue, root cap cells. There's that pericycle, and in the middle here, xylem and phloem. Packing tissue, epidermis, all the way around the edge. Alright. Okay, and there's the pericycle. Another picture just to show you. So those big branch roots. See, this is a bit deceiving. Those are little root hairs, tiny, tiny. But these big branch roots, that's what they look like. So growing out, they actually push out through the stem, and then they hold through the roots, and they hold that plant up. Okay, there's even different arrangements of tissues, because you've got monocots and dicots. We don't do all of that. We basically look at dicots, keep it simple. All right, have we got it?
Yes.
I'm done. Yes.
Does the epidermis also have cells
That
that divide?
divide?
Yeah.
Not really, no. Why? You mean like when it gets damaged or something?
No, like when the meristematic part of the roots is dividing, does the epidermis also divide?
Oh, okay, I understand what you're saying. So I think I do. So here, more cells are made and they get pushed out and they become the cells on the edge and they change shape and they get function and then they become the cells all over here.
Oh, so
as
they
it
change.
grows down,
The cells change.
here's the meristem, and these ones that were made here become all the different tissues.
Oh.
Alright, so roots growing down, meristem is now here. These would have already become, I'll make this longer, they would have become more xylem and phloem and epidermis.
So they almost almost all the cells start as meristematic and then
differentiate and become all the different tissues as the plant grows. Yes. Are there any questions from home? Anybody at home? You all happy? Okay, so you guys must go and watch these videos there at home and the PowerPoints at home. Everything's there on lesson 2 for Google Classroom. All right, so are you people happy with the table?
yes.
And then all I've said is go and label, you can already just label D.
Oh.
So you practice being a botanist with photo D, the photo worksheet, the botany worksheet. And then just go and look at the first row of the plant tissues notes. We're keeping it simple. Oh, they mentioned annual rings there. Let me just mention that quickly.
Wait, so D is this?
The photo of the root. You can label other things on there if you want. This one here, so that's what ties up with today. That's the root. So you just got to label the tissue. In fact, that's not even homework. Okay. So how does this little stem, all right, this isn't a real plant, it's just here for decoration. How does that stem become this?
It grows out.
Sideways, like Mr. Anderson was saying, and he started talking about secondary growth, making wood. So we do a little bit of that, but then you can actually count how old this tree is, because every year it makes another ring of wood. And if you count these rings, they're called, see I've mentioned it in Meristematic. It says here, meristems in plant stems to form annual rings. So a thin little stem becomes a big, thick stem of a tree. It makes annual rings. And you can actually count, and we'll talk about it later. You count how old the tree is, year by year. Obviously, once you cut it, that's tree gone. Okay, so we don't really want to do that. Okay, people, we're done. People at home, you happy? Okay.